Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Welcome back into the Dragon's Den. Digital Dragon, aka Luke. It's been a minute since we've seen each other. A lot that's gone over the last week. We had a successful trip out to Midwest Rep Rap Festival. Didn't have any issues with any of the vehicles or anything on the way. As some of you may have seen by my on again, off again stream settings for tonight. We did have an issue with Mrs. Dragon's car. That was all our fault. Yes, we left one of the vehicle or one of the doors partly open, so the light was on, and we didn't catch it last night. Something about driving 13, 14 hours home, getting in at midnight, unloading the cars as walking zombies. We went out to jump in a car today, and the battery was. I had it, I hooked up jumper cables to the truck, and after about half hour of it sitting there, the battery was still reading like 5 volts. So that's not good. Hey, Tugboat, how's it going? So I had to go out and buy a new battery for it to get her on the road. Luckily, I had one of my afternoon at camp do that, and then slight delay this afternoon getting started due at another meeting. For those of you that don't know, I work for systems, and they're going to summer shutdown July next week. Everything's got to be done this everybody's freaking out, and it's a great time. So as you know, we love our coffee here. We've got some serve mug is Blackbeard's Delight Dark Roast from Black Rifle Company. And the mug that I'm getting ready to drink out of is Freedom Fuel. Also, and we are using new MRRF 2024 mug. We did pick up a mug. We did pick up a shirt. The shirt's actually but yes, we got plenty of coffee to keep going for a little bit, and yeah, let's chat a little bit about Murph and what happened there and all. Folks, I apologize. I am going to sit down a little bit. I was up on my feet all weekend long. I'm having some bad issues right now, so I'm going to have that. Oh, so some of you might know, brought several machines over. What is Dragon Spawn? We also had Speedy Dragon, which we had a little bit of issue. The only thing I brought this year was PLA. In fact, EPAX 3D, PAX 3D. And I was still having some issues on Speedy Dragon, but it's because it's got a Goliath hot end attached to a metal X carriage, attached to an all metal extruder. And even with everything opened up and trying to run all the fans pretty high, I was still getting some heat creep issues. So 98 degrees and 90+% humidity, not a good weekend for not in that environment. I did get some new stocks for the Goliath because I was having issues with stock, and I talked with Nero 3D, Canuck creator, and he was having a similar issue, and I was going to use a zip tie. No, don't use a zip tie to zip tie this on. He use like metal wire, like safety wire, because the zip tie will melt with the temperatures that the Goliath gets to. Loaded, good to go. Hey, Shrimp Father, welcome on in. Mr. Wizix, good evening. Um, is it just me or is there some audio cut? I don't know. You got them too, Tugboat? Okay, maybe it's just where the mic is. Shouldn't be cutting out, hopefully. I haven't changed any setup at least. I didn't bring any of this with. Yeah, the temps and the humidity crazy the first couple of days, like Friday and Saturday. Let's just say I am so glad that we broke the drive up on the. We drove up from North Carolina to Troy, Ohio, and spent Thursday night in Troy, Ohio. Um, this is Dragon and Little Diesel, aka Goober, stayed at the hotel because she had a meeting Friday morning, and me and Evil Diesel hit the road and drove up to the show, got everything set up. The girls showed up just in time. Everybody was starting to roll in. That was good. Those of you that don't know, MRRF is open Friday evening. We were allowed in at noon from 3 to 9. The public was allowed in. Did have a lot of walkthrough Friday night. Good. Saturday was pretty packed. Had a lot of people in there chatting us up. Like I said, Saturday put me over the edge as far as my hip was. I was standing on the entire day talking about either Speedy Dragon or Tiamat. Tiamat is not here. We brought Tiamat in last night, and he went on the dining room table, which is where she is going to stay until I get a black stack over here. Someplace to put her where I'm not going to have to move any too heavy. She's definitely a two-man lift because she's a little unwieldy to kind of grab around up. So definitely going up the stairs. I want to open me. So hopefully I'll be able to chat with Chris and Blackstack at least the ad for Blackstack so I can get the main frame up and running. We won't have the easy dry until the bulk buy happens, group buy happens. Those come in like November, December. And I don't care about the drawers right now. I just able to move down and show. So in both Nero and Zombie. Exactly. I did catch some of those. I was trying to catch through some of those streams. So I was in Zombie. I was in what's his name? Heroes. I was in Lemery 3Ds as he was doing the walk around of. I know EB3D MakerMind Nexus came by. I also did an interview with Lemery. I did an interview with another gentleman, and this is not the right card. So I got to find the other gentleman's card. But yeah, it was a blast. It was a blast. And yes, lo and behold, everybody kept saying, you had a sponsored table? No. Dragon Den is my studio, right? Digital Dragon 72 is the channel. Dragon Den is the studio. There was somebody there by the name of the Dragon's Den 3D. Okay? Got their card. She is a 3D model maker and she makes dragons. Got some really cool dragons there. So there was Dragon's Den, and then also Green Dragon Forge printing. They had a bunch of stuff as well. So a lot of things themed Dragon. We're gonna have to be careful we don't step on any toes and things like that. But more will come because yeah, we will be starting a company later this year. If you're on your phone, it may be on your phone. I'm not seeing anything in my interface, and I'm not seeing any dropped frames through. Yeah. Okay, you're on a desktop computer, so not a mobile issue. Okay. Let me double check all my connections to make sure I'm not picking up anything. Test, test, test. Yeah, because no settings have, and I don't think there's anything physical. So, is it the auto noise cancellation that's filtering it out? It might be. Okay, good. Maybe it was just something slightly, um, slightly ajar or something. So we did come back with a few things, and there was a couple of things that came in right before. So one of the things that came in right before the show, and let me change camera for you guys, was our Beacon H low profile. So the low profile really means low profile on this. And the plan is to install this on Speedy Dragon so that we can do contact. So we can test out Beacon contact and then also do our bed mesh. So we'll use contact to do our like homing, and then we'll use standard beacon runs to do the mesh because contact is just bed. There's what that beacon low profile looks like. All on one board now with the H series. The only difference is the chip is either facing straight up, or the connector is either straight up or straight back. So this will get mounted on our fan duct like that. Okay. And we'll have two spacers that'll move from the outside to the inside. Slightly different size, so I'll have to print those out. And this will replace the existing duct that's on the printer. And nice thing about Beacon Rev H is it has the accelerometer built into the board here. So we'll be able to do input shaping. Like right now, I've just been running a manual input shape, and it definitely could use additional up or some additional tuning. So using this is going to be very helpful for that setup. So we'll have to get this installed, and of course this is a USB device. So we do have our USB pre-made cable that we'll have to route through to it. That's not that big. Pretty easy to do. But this will get installed. I'm not sure if I'll do this on stream. I may just record it, or it may just be a YouTube only thing. So, but that's going to be on Speedy Dragon. You can also see a couple of. I arrived, or these arrived a little bit before I got home. So these are my build plates from Ember Prototypes. And this is the Digital Dragon logo on the build plate. This is the thin coating. So this will not transfer the design to any print, but it's a creator one, so I can put it on there and everybody can see the logo. I can get this logo and just tile it all across and make it thicker. But yes, Chris, I made it home. I made it home, and my understanding is Goober is already bugging um, Evil Diesel about getting her printer set up so that she can print things. So, hey, Karen Chow, welcome on in. Welcome on in. Oh. And I also picked up one of these. This is one of the Sanjay Mortimer Foundation ones. And when you buy these, part of the proceeds does go to this foundation. This is one of the thicker panels, so when you print on this, we'll transfer that honeycomb design to the printed part. And both of these are 300 by 300. So this will most likely go on Trident Iron Dragon, which also has my my logo on the vinyl side panels. And I will most likely be getting a couple of more of these. In fact, I might get one of these in a 120 size to put on the Rook. Awesome. That's awesome, Typo. So the other things that we picked up while at the show, let me scoot these aside real fast. I don't fall over. Set them over here. The other things, so we'll be working on a Rook today. So there's our bottom panel that's got the King 3D. I figure since my Rook 2020 is always at their booth, I could put a sticker on it, or I could just make it, you know, a dual color panel. So that's going to be for our Rook build. So as you guys may have heard, Tiamat, when I was putting on the panels, I realized that the front panel that goes around the front of the machine has the door and cutout for the P2 actually broken. So I sent a picture to Chris at KB3D and talked to him, and they brought me a new panel. So one of the first things we did after getting the table set up, somewhat semi set up, was replace that front panel, dressed right, and had, you know, her best side, everybody to see. Really great. Like I said, there was a lot of people that spent time specifically around the V spot and the black box, and those two were really the hits. Chris too, maybe three. The gentleman in striped bucket that was talking to Chris on Friday and talking all day on. Remember his name? Somebody else having. That's not good. There shouldn't audio. See if something happened in the noise cancel. Yeah, I haven't changed any. I haven't changed any any settings. So not sure. There's been a couple of people that said that they had some, but thought they were solved. Hey, Randy Mac, welcome on in. Welcome on in. So anyhow, we got a panel, and then there was this big, huge, huge fan. This is a 1232, so this is a 120 by 120 by 32 millimeter fan. So this is one of the big boys. Yes, time. And this is going to go on black box. We have to make some changes to black box. He's going to send me a new deck panel and we're going to have to move one of the cable chains that goes up to the bed around a little bit for this. But right now, there's only a single 3010 blower fan, not even a duct, just blowing straight across the nozzle. So cooling for any type of PLA print, pretty anemic right now. So Chris had this already set up on his black box, and he's going to send me, I should have all the fasteners actually, but he's going to send me anything else that I need. Get this set up on my black box to help with printing PLA. And of course, I was running around, and I came back. You've missed too much? You haven't missed much, Ash. We're just kind of recapping some stuff. But welcome in, Ash. Welcome in. Hey, Glendon, welcome in. Welcome in. And so I came back, and there was these metal parts just sitting on my table. Like, I looked over at Diesel. I was like, where the hell did these come from? And he goes, I don't know. I didn't see whoever dropped them off. And I moved these over, and as soon as I saw these parts, I knew who it was. So, if you're not familiar, this is a metal party plate for a NXK3. Specifically, I want you to look at this area right here. So that is a mount for a tube. So Hoity was kind enough to bring me a set of backers and a set of, well, I'll say a set. So these are the party plate and the different spacers that would be needed to mount the party plate on Annex Engineering K3. And he had, what do you call it? Chalk 3? At the show, it wasn't fully decked out yet, but it was his Annex Engineering K3 with a whole heck of a lot more metal. So instead of the black, I think it was like 2mm thick aluminum panels that I have on mine that are standard. Yeah, he actually has steel panels. So very well added to the structural rigidity heft of his printer. Going to be able to print a lot hotter, and once again, be able to mount a tube. He brought these to me, so I would be able to work on getting a tube mounted on my printer at some point. We will figure out how to work these updates in the mix. I did take a bunch of pictures. There were a few more mods that I cannot talk about that I have laid eyes on and we'll say hands and did a little touchy feely on his chunk. But yeah, there are a lot of things that people are doing to make just enhance a few things on their printers and have people nice enough to provide me, gift me some parts so I can make some of these mods as well and show them off to you guys. Is great. So we've got these. One of the other things that happened at the show, because KB3D is very nice to me. Like I said, he brought me the panel. He brought me some upgrades that we'll be adding to Tiamat. He also brought a few of these. And these are Nighthawk Stealth Burner Toolboard. So as most of you know, I've got CAN bus on all of my Vorons. and CAN bus going to Big Tree Tech EBB SB2209 tool heads, which work great. The problem is, if anything goes wrong with CAN bus, or you need to update clippers, you feature a clipper that you really need, or you forget and just click that update all, right? Now you've updated clipper on the Raspberry Pi, and there's a version issue, and it does not want to talk to the MCU, any of the MCU, right? So that's at least the host MCU that's running the main printer stuff, the CAN bus MCU on the tool head. In the case of Trident 350, that would be the Big Tree Tech MMU, right? And you should be able to use Catapult to update the Clipper firmware. Me and Glennon were talking about this. It doesn't always work. And then you're flipping a 300 or 350 size printer on its side, taking the bottom panel off, plugging in a long USB cable, and doing everything, I'll say, over again like it was a fresh can. Hey, Bexy Beans. Your husband requested you attend the stream. Well, thank you for being here. I know he was saying that he was having issues getting into his Twitch account from down in the States. So I am glad that you were able to get on, Bexy. I thank you for being here. Thank you, Phantom Bexy, for bringing out Maker Millwright and getting him out there to us. I know he had a blast. It was good to meet him face to face finally, and to see you as well. Both of you, I see you all the time in streams, but to be able to chat with you all face to face was definitely something really cool. Did we secure the Coco? Yeah. He did not get a Coco press. There was no Coco press there. Coco press was not there. They participated in open sauce the weekend before, and I think they're going to be at Rapid TC, which is this week. So a lot of people, if they were at open sauce and they were going to Rapid, they did not bother coming back. But actually, I don't think they're going to be at Rapid, because I now remember they went to open sauce, and then when they got back, they were actually moving location. Because I remember the Nomad and a couple of other people helping them move. But yeah. But she did bring chocolate, and she missed the memo that the Dragon's Den sponsored table was not me, but was actually the Dragon's Den 3D, which was a Dragon Design printing company. And so they got some really good UK dark chocolate. Hey, Tech Jeeper, welcome on in with the raid. Welcome on in. We're just sitting here chatting, and welcome on into the Dragon Den. Hey, I'm Dragon. Dragon Den is my studio space. It's my studio space. I'm saying that because there was literally somebody there with a company that's selling things by the name of the Dragon's Den. And I'm just trying to make sure that I don't step on any toes or anything like that. This is my location, the name of my physical space, not a company name. He's saying that for I don't make any enemies. Yes, he is a designer of dragons. I actually have her business card. Did talk to her, did trade, or I gave her a maker coin, and I'm definitely going to chat with her. She had some really cool stuff. Don't cry in the corner, Bexy. Cry in public. It's all good. Um, you have a chocolate addiction. Oh God. Um, so I've got a dish of assorted Hershey's set on my table, and I didn't take any with me to the show because it was so incredibly hot. Because normally, like at Rocky Mountain and at Earth, we're indoors, air conditioned, and I will have Hershey's Kisses on 3D printed bowls on the table. And it was way too hot. There was no way anything chocolate was going to last. So, Jordan Rook brain. Okay. That's probably a, yeah, dang mobile. Exactly, Ashprint. Welcome on in. Welcome on in, everybody. It's coming over from Tech Jeeper, built over bot, Ash. Polymorph, welcome on in. Thank you for chatting. So yeah, we're just talking a little bit about our experience at MRRF. It was really good. Rocky Mountain AC was unnecessary. Yeah, we just opened the doors if anybody got hot. Fellow BW3 buddy. All right, brain's still not functioning. BW3. Yep, not putting it. Chrome crashed on raid. Oh goodness. Hey Tech Jeep, welcome on in. It was so great meeting you at the show. Like I said, I saw so many people at the show. It was really good to see everybody at Murph Sunday. Okay. Okay. Oh, yeah. I got you now. Yes. Yes, yes. Oh, yeah. Like I said, I was brain dead. So Friday night, not so bad. By Saturday, I walked into the room, did the loop around the bed, and just crawled right in. And was snoring before Mrs. Dragon could even try and nudge me. So, yeah, exactly, Tech Cheaper. And I saw the photos of your dress, Bexy. I am so sorry I didn't go over to Chili's and see you, but I know that everybody took off at like 6 or 7. We stayed there until the lights went out, which was sometime after 9. And me and Evil Diesel, by this time, Mrs. Dragon had already gone back with Goober, um, little Diesel, and KB3D Chris and Chris 2 were like, um, I'm not sure, like everybody would be done at Chili's and probably just be like done eating and just be hanging out and drinking at that point. And we were just like, we just went to Wings, etc. And then we ran into Polymaker crew. Who else was there? A Lightburn. A few people. Lightburn were out there, and we just grabbed food, ate, and right back to the hotel. And I passed out. So yes, yes. Um, New printer sign. Need to recharge your social. Oh yes, yes. I need to recharge every type of battery. My body's sore. Need a few days sitting in my adjustable bed to get my body to not so with me. Um, oh, that'll be cool, Bexy. I know. Well, we may have to like. It's not going to happen this year, but maybe next year we might miss one of the U.S. events and possibly look at if we can swing a trip to England for the Sanjay Mortimer rep. I think is around Cambridge. I think. Okay, sounds good. Yeah, it was definitely good to hang out, especially like Sunday a little bit afterwards. We were doing pretty good, me and Evil Diesel, but once and Goober. But once we got back to the hotel, we all went. Then I got up and said, "Oh, I left my laptops out in the car." I went and got them and ran into Tesla's K2, Zombie, Glendon, Joe Mike, Pink. I'm sorry, don't hate me, but Pink's an other. I cannot remember her name. And I called Miss Dragon down there. She brought a nothing bundt cake down. We all had cake and yeah, fun times. Um, yes. So I found a sign and the holes got skewed because they blow up like real big. But I made them all 200 millimeters long. Whoops, 200 millimeters long. Sorry, 200 millimeters long and I think 20 millimeters tall. Then I modeled in holes for magnets. These holes are 8.1 millimeters in the X and Y and 3.6 millimeters deep. These are 8 millimeter by 3 millimeter magnets. Don't ask me why, but they still stick up a little proud, but that works. But this is IMAT, and all of the printers behind me have name tags for them. So they're nice because you have the 3 magnets and they attach right to my shelf. So what I can do is if I ever move things around, it's as simple as grabbing the name tag and moving it with it. I was thinking about doing, like stick-on labels. And then I was like, well, then you got the residue of the stick-on label. And if you go to move it from one place to another, you have to sit here and redo it. So, you know, um, yes, you missed wings and cake both. And that was at the Hampton Inn. But Bexy Beans also had cake. We brought her cake to the venue on Saturday. And it had a big heart on it. And we had 3 of the Disney princesses on it. So we had like, what was it? Cinderella, Belle. What was the other one? Was it Snow White, Bexy? I can't remember. Okay, have fun, Karen, and we'll check out your stream if you're still running later on. 2024 is the year of the magnet. Yep. Was Aurora from Sleepy. Gotcha. So yeah, so I came home with 4 Nighthawk boards for the Stealth Burner toolhead. So my stuff running Stealth Burner will get switched over to the Nighthawk, which it looks like the same cable, but it's not. It uses USB to communicate. So you can always do an LS USB and update over, directly from the Pi, your Clipper stuff. And USB actually has more bandwidth on the channel than CAN bus. That's why the Annex Engineering, everything on it's running USB. So we got 4 of these boards that will be doing some changes and mods to things. I noticed that my bin of M3 by 5 by 4 heat inserts were getting low. So, I just ran by KB3D and bought some. So those go right in here to fill that back up for some more projects. Can't remember. I think there's at least 1 or 2 that we'll use in the Rook 2020 build. So that'll go back in there. And then he brought me some things that I ordered, so I didn't have to wait on shipping. and that is a Duet 3 Mini 5 Ethernet controller. So something's gonna, something else in the Dragon Den is gonna wind up with a Duet board and a Duet accelerometer. So this is a nozzle accelerometer. Several in the Rook, it came with a lot. Yeah, Chris probably gave you like a whole batch of them anyhow. And you got your new TS100 soldering iron, right? So, yeah. Here is our little accelerometer. Got its own cable, and boards have a spot where it plugs in. Now, in this case, we're going to be doing a Revo. So this will go between the, I have one. So it won't go around the base here as it hits the heater core. It's going to go around this part because remember the heater core has a spring to it where this is what gets screwed in and fixed. So we'll add a washer to this to make sure that we get good contact. And this will come up and we're going to screw it directly up until the flange hits. And this is going to be used to input shape black box. So I went ahead and ordered this and picked this up. And like I said, Chris brought me some Nighthawk boards as a gift, which was very, very nice. He has done a couple of things like that for me, and I will be reciprocating in kind here shortly. Not just by building a Rook that is specifically branded in his particular color scheme, but I got a surprise for him as well. So just a couple of things that we'll be working on the channel in a little bit. Like I said, I may have to set up a camera downstairs to do some input shaping on black box downstairs because I really don't want to move it upstairs until I've got a black stack stand here. So with that, I think I was going to say we're going to put the frame together for our Rook 2020, and then we're going to go into teardown mode. So I told you that if the Fabreeko Rook did not find a new home during the show, that it will be used as the donor. So I'm going to disassemble this, reuse all the parts and stuff, all the metal parts. The printed parts will get bagged up if anybody would like them to build a Rook. There's a set of ABS printed parts in blue and lime. But this will become a donor for our Rook 2020 Mark II. Sherpa extruder, the whole Sentinel tool head will not be used. I've got a, what did we get? We got the Pick Top Bamboo Labs hot end. So this is a, no kidding, Bamboo Labs hot end replacement. I also have a couple of Bamboo Labs hot ends here that I could just throw on here instead of using this. But we've got a hot end that we're going to use for this build. And we've got the extruder that they suggested using. I have not used this. This is a Hosen Way upgraded, blah, blah, blah. Basically, it's a HGX, so it uses the large gears. So it's an HGX extruder, metal. So We're using this as the extruder for this build. And Canrog did have a video out specifically on this extruder tugboat. So tugboat, please listen. They did have, Canrog did do a video out about this specific extruder. There is a bearing that is not great. So you will probably have an issue with that bearing somewhere down the road. You may get a good one, you may not. Just be aware. I think it's the little M3 bearing that goes front. So if you need one, we can get you one. And I say we can get you one. I'll send you one because I've got several of them from that are reputable. Are you going the Milo mill? Well, Bexy, I will be building a Milo mill. Yes, I have one here. We'll be building the Milo. I'm planning on starting that on Saturday. Okay, so the Rook is going to be Tuesdays and Thursdays. And one thing I want to point out, for those of you that know, I have family that live in all three of the major rep rap areas. So my oldest son lives down in Colorado Springs. So, and my mother-in-law and brother-in-law live in Denver. So I get to see them when I go out to Rocky Mountain. My younger son lives in the Goshen Elkhart area. He used to live about 5 minutes away from the there for MRRF. I didn't get to hang out with them as much. Dragon did. So I'm going to be heading back to MRRF at the beginning of next week. So probably Sunday, I may be driving back up to, not MRRF, Goshen, to hang out and spend time with my son. So I may not stream both Tuesday and Thursday next week. If I do, it'll be at my son's house, and I will be working on Rook. I'll just with me if I don't finish Thursday. Uh-oh. What'd I miss? Yes, this is a pretty Rook. I meant to have it up and running, but every time I went to try and get this up and running, somebody would talk to me and ask me questions about one of the others, and I wouldn't be able to get it up and running. So yeah, I understand. I may need to print new feet. Now, the feet that came in this kit are definitely a different size, so these may be able to work, or you may be able to print spacers. Now, I will tell you on the BZBot, I actually did. I printed spacers for those. So yeah, and you can print those out of a hard or a soft material. It doesn't matter because you'll have the TPU feet underneath. So Bexy Beans, on Saturday, I go live at 10 a.m. Eastern time, which would be 7 a.m. Baker Millwright time. Using the phone and Twitch at the moment. Oh wow. Went to Micro Center yesterday and asked for printer feet, and they told me that's not a normal 3D printer item. BS. In fact, I've got some of the old switch wire feet that might work, and I think I've got another one, but it's just at this point, literally, you know, I can send you a file, and you should be able to print that file out and just figure out, you know, just make it as high as you need it. Figure out how short you are, add a couple of millimeters to give you some additional clearance, and print 4 of those out, and you can print it out in whatever, right? So do it in a black PLA. You'll never see it because it's at the bottom. Maker will be there with bells on. Okay. Ain't got no legs. Obviously, you haven't paid attention because there have been several people that have gotten these walking. You can make these walk running them fast. Hey, Ozzy, how's it going? Good morning. You may be fast asleep, though. Yeah. Here's a burnt out little slice of bacon. Okay, so let's try and get into some maker mode here. So this is how I did everything. I cut them. I have drilled and tapped both ends on all of these just to make sure whether it needed it or not. And our 4 extrusions are have the drill through for the blind holes at one end, and only 2 of them at the other end have them on both sides because 2 of them are going to be uprights and don't need it. But this is the same way I package these when I send them off to our folks at Tugboat 3D Printing. So, and these were all cut to size by me. They were then follow on machined by me, and these were cut from some 500 millimeter links that I got from MakerMind Nexus. He had bought. There was somebody at the show, and I can't remember who, that had links of 500 in packages of 50. You could buy them per stick, or you can buy them as a complete batch. MakerMind Nexus had bought a complete batch of them on the last day, and I bought them from him at the hotel that night, or actually the next morning. So I have let's just say right over here, I've got a few sticks of extrusion for some yet to be defined projects that'll happen over the next year plus. Now, mind you, we've got the Milo build. We've got a Rat-Rig V-Core 4 300 with hybrid motors. We've got a positron that'll come in. And we've got the Rook 2020 build that we're going to start working on today. So we've got things to keep us busy, right? As you know, we like to use our 1, 2, 3 block, and we'll use some additional extrusions. The way I like to start out is I'm going to do the 2 side frames. So once again, we'll look at this, and this extrusion is tapped both ends in both directions. So this is a rear. This will be a rear. I'll need 2 of these. That will be the side legs. And then we'll do a front pillar up here after we flip it over. We're going to need some M5s. M5 by 10s would do fine on this. Okay? These are M5, I believe, by 16. Double check that. You want button heads? And yes, these are M5 by 16s. On a Voron, they call out for M5 by 16. For this build and the size of it, you can most likely get away with it with a M5 by 10, right? So I'm going to go ahead and use these because I have them, and why not? A trick that Steve Builds uses is he takes a M5 washer and puts it under the head, because the washer sticks out just a tiny bit more ahead, and it gives you a little bit more purchase on the when you're trying to screw down the part, because what you're doing, we're gonna put the screw in here. Of course, we're going to use some Loctite. Screw started in there. Okay, well, in this case, I think I am going to go and do some M5x10s because apparently didn't tap these deep. So we will go with M5x10s. Set this tray off to the side so I don't keep trying to grab those. And like I said, with this frame, M5x10s, M5x12s would be perfectly fine. It's not going to matter on the length here because we're not doing like a like on a Voron. We're not going to have a lot of weight that we've got to try and hold down or stop. So M5x10, perfectly fine. So we'll get it close, and we'll slide it on our slide it in our why are you not going in there? There we go. And as you can see, as I slide this in here, because we're catching on just the lip, that one washer gives us just a little bit more purchase, and it's going to enable us to keep the, we're going to keep it from rotating as we're tightening this, what we're doing. Grab just another extrusion, put it on one side, use our 1, 2, 3 block on one side. We're going to sandwich this together. That's going to enable us to keep this flat, sandwiched together. We're going to tighten this up. Making sure that we keep that 90-degree angle here, which is why we're using our 1, 2, 3 block. So that gives us a nice square angle. We're going to do the same thing on this end. Need to put T-nuts in now before I close it up so that the bottom things will go in. So you're saying your roll-in T-nuts are pretty tight? At least that's kind of what it sounds like he just said. So once again, this is our back. This will be, top and bottom. This is going to be the inside corner. We'll add, once we build our frame, add the other sides, and we'll build the two frames and then add the bottom, front, back, top, rear legs. Not going to be a bar in the front here. So you need to put your T-nuts in now so that the bottom thing can go on. Okay, so what he's saying is this is our frame. This is the back edge, the side, and the front. So when this goes on the printer, we'll need 3 peanuts on the side, on each side. Looks like 1 on the back, and we'll need 4 on the front. So we need to make sure that we're aware of that. Thank you for letting me know that, Tugboat. And those holes look like M5s. So I've got some M5 peanuts here. And what he's saying is sometimes these can roll in, sometimes they don't. And if they don't roll in nicely, like that, then you want to go ahead and feed them in from the end to make sure that they're in there prior to closing things up. So once they're in there, they move fairly easily. It's just getting them in there to start with. There's those 3. Now you got me thinking whether I need to do it for the 3D printed parts at the top. Yeah, about that one. Now you need to take the frame apart. Or you can use an M5 hammerhead nut. Bottom of each needs some. Yeah, and that'll be for the skirts. So I kind of feel like I need to grab my print. Well, my printer's not going to have that part. I don't have skirts and stuff on my. So what I'm going to do real fast is look at the parts. I'm going to get some parts out here. Feet. So basically, this is going to be like a B0 where you have to remember to put your nuts in first. So these are going to use M. We can add these with hammerhead teeth. So we don't need to worry about our skirts here. We'll need to worry about though is so have our holes here. Look like they are definitely M5 holes. So we're going to need to account for these on the bottom when we go ahead and do these. So have at least 1 on the front and 1 on the back on the side, because we would have something like this, 1 on the front and 1 on the back. Okay, add some of those in. This is to the bottom of the panel. And yes, I'm hearing that this is cracked. We'll have to fix that. I'll have to play with that racking. That could actually just be my cable itself. So we've got 3 on the side that'll be for the side plate. We've got 2 on the bottom that will be for legs. We're going with you guys went with the standard IEC, correct? Tugboat. So that will use this setup. So we'll have 1, 2, 3. At least 4 on the back side, bottom. Instructions, why would we need them? Yeah, so the instructions for this is basically watch Canrog do his build video. There isn't an instruction set that I am aware of. That makes sense. So we've got 4 there. We're going to need at least 1 on the back panel. Yep. 4 at the bottom, 1 on the back. And like I said, I could always go down and grab the other Rook 2020. So let me do that real fast. Be right back. So the goal would be to look something like this. We're done. So we can, this has a different bottom and back plate, but it does give us somewhat of an ability to look at the parts and kind of suss some things out without needing to there's some things that were not changed between the revisions and some things that were. So I feel like I'm missing something. Oh well. We'll figure it out as we go. That's the fun of a Rook. And like they fully expect you to change. Like make the Rook yours, right? They expect you to do that. Okay, so I think we got that and that. All the stuff at the top I can do with M5 hammerheads. So, and I was looking at these. These are going to go on the inside. They'll require one of their own. So we'll need one more M5 here. And once again, this is the bottom. Back, we'll need one on the right, one on the left for our corner pieces. On the back side, good to know. Okay. So I think we're good to put in one of our uprights. Once again, our uprights do not have anything coming in from the side. So it's going to go in there this. And I will show you once I get one of these on. These are normally screenless. This Rook is the way the Rook comes. Rollahan designed the Rook to not have a screen and to be tethered to your PC, laptop, or what have you. Most people, that will be like an Octoprint instance, because Rollahan initially did this with Mainsail, I believe, and went to Clipper. And I've always done, all three of my Rooks that I have to date have been Clipper. So I can definitely pass along any configs. I've got my my one Rook that went over to K2 Kevin was Clipper. My second standard Rook is the Fabreeko Rook that's right in front of you. It is Clipper as well, and it is headless. And then the Rook 2020 is Clipper, and it was headless, but I decided to put a screen on it because it's easier. It shows. You don't have to go to a web interface on your phone or a laptop or something like that, and you can just do it all at the machine. So literally, I set the Rook 2020 over on KB3D's booth, and they they just came over and said, "Do you have filament for it? If not, we'll grab some." And I said, "No, I have filament." Handed them a spool, asked them what color they had, and then realized I still had an orange. So had kind of like a duh moment. Handed them the orange, and that was it. They went over and started printing chameleons, because we had chameleons set up on there from the last three or four shows, which are the Toys for Tots chameleons from 2023 and 2022. So kids seem to love them. So we just have that loaded up, and they just start printing them off 3 at a time. Okay. So now what you'll see is the bottom has a side hole on both sides. Top has a side hole on one side and not on the other. This is the front. Either going to be a right or left. So there's the hole that I used to tighten up this connection. And the other hole will be used I'm sorry, there won't be a hole or there won't be a connection. So we've got our bottom plate that we were working on. This is going to be our, like this side here. These are going to be the 4 at the bottom that will be used for the feet. Got 2 down here for the feet, 1 at this side, 1 will be at the front. And this will be, this is going to go on there, and this will be one side and the other of the foot pad. Like that. So that's how we'll set that up. I want to go ahead and get both of these done before I start adding this in. So I'm going to set that to the side, and we'll build another one just like this. Taking into account that we need to add our M5 nuts just like we did there. So we had 4. And once again, 3 of these are going to be for the plate's side, and the one's going to be for the, whatchamacallit, our corner piece that's going to hold the rod that's going to right like so. So we've got the 4 for the inside. Now at the bottom, we're going to need 2, at least. Need front and back. So 1 for the front, 1 for the back of the feet. One would be one. We're not that one. We're doing this one. Sorry, I'm talking to myself. I'm just trying to mentally. Well, I feel like I did a missed a foot or something. I don't know. That should be good. So that bottom should be good. This being the bottom of the foot, this being the side of the foot, or the side of the leg. So we've got our 2 holes top, 2 holes bottom. So this is the back side. This is the, we'll want to go like this. So let's grab 5x10. Four nuts on the sides of the bottom. Yeah, the reason there's 4 nuts is there's 3 for the side, and then you've got your piece that goes in that holds your linear rod. That'll be the 4th one. Once again, if you've got hammerhead M5 hammerhead nuts, you can use those instead of the roll-in T-nuts. Okay, so that's the one side. Let me just double check and make sure that I didn't do what I just did, which was put it on the wrong side of the extrusion. So 4 screws side means I need to rotate this down. Now I can screw this in and say screws, but the 4 nuts. Okay, so now the 4 for the inside, the 2 for the bottom. This is our back plate. Let's go ahead and do one more going to the front. Once again, we've got the bottom things that are preloaded. The top I'm not preloading because I do have some M5 hammerhead nuts. I can use those. Much as I tend to hate hammerhead nuts, I will use them. There we go. Okay, so bottom, top, back, need the other front. And we need to make sure that we get the top, which is the one that's only drilled on one side. Got our peanuts in the bottom, so that makes this the top. I have to keep down my legs sore. Come on. Oh. And we're just using a spare extrusion to keep everything nice and straight and tight. And the 1, 2, 3 block is setting our 90-degree angle between the two pieces. Okay. This was going to be our back piece. So back piece, we had our 2 corners and 1 for this piece here. So back inside these bottoms. So it is going to basically go like this for our back corner. Okay. So go ahead and get this ready to go. Go around. So hammerheads, I'll show you hammerheads in just 1 second. Let me get this pre-tightened here, or screwed in a bit, and I will grab my hammerheads. So we've got different kinds of nuts. We've got our spring-loaded roll-in T-nut. Roll-in T-nut. We've got a slide-in. Then we have a hammerhead. Hammerheads look like this. Short T-nut. They fit down into the extrusion. So the way you do this is you put these on your screw, a part, panel, whatever, and you just barely get them started. Then you put your part down in there, and as you turn the screw, eventually your T-nut is going to twist. When it twists, it'll then lock in the profile. Yes, enders use those. You just have to make sure that you have some M5 hammerhead T-nuts. We'll probably need some M3s as well. This was the back. This is the bottom. Bottom, we decided there was 1, 4, bottom, back. What I'm going to do is do one side of this at a time. I'm going to attempt to do one side. Washers. Once again, we'll bring our 1, 2, 3 block. We'll grab one of our extrusions that we still have left over. Make that sandwich. Push things down to hold it down against our build plate or cable. Then we'll tighten that up. And what we'll do, or what I'll do, is later on after this stream, I will take this downstairs to the kitchen counter and make sure that the frame is really nice and square using the stone countertop. Preferably before Mrs. Dragon gets home and doing it. Or turn this around, get everything in there, push down on the edges as well as holding everything tight. Use our 3mm driver. Head of screw. Tweak this one a tad bit. Like this one keeps rotating ever so slightly. So now we need to do the one at the top. We'll do the one at the bottom front. That should give us all of our panels. Yeah, I don't like hammerheads all that much because they are a pain to get to turn sometimes, especially in, we'll say, suspect extrusions. With these taking M5 threads on the end, that tells me that these are Masumi extrusions, which are better quality. Some of the ones that you get that are drilled, like the center hole and the ends are drilled to 5mm, which means you're having to actually drill them out and tap them to 6mm. That is not as conducive. I find that those have a harder time to, or I have a harder time getting those to actually, English. I have a hard time getting those to twist and properly align in the going this. That's why. Like, why is that not looking right? Okay. So our last one left is the front bottom. We're going to be using this extrusion, so we'll grab this. Need 2 more of our M5 washers. If you don't have the washers, no big deal. It's just one of those tricks that Steve Build showed us, and it helps prevent, as you're tightening the extrusion, it helps prevent it from rotating the actual extrusion that you're tightening up again. Yeah, that was why I wanted to definitely do the stream here. And like I said, Canrog, who is the designer of the Rook 2020, um, has a build series as well that is also pretty darn good. So oh, that put in fairly easy. Now, I don't have another straight edge over here, except I do have another 2020 block. This is where having some 20 or 1, 2, 3 blocks really helps in being able to square up your frames. And helps you get them square and keep them. Just like that. This is our basic frame. We did preload some of our M5 nuts. If we need more, like I just put this in and forgot to, I can pop this off or loosen this up, lift it up, throw some nuts in here for the front. I completely, yeah, I'm going to do that because I completely forgot about the 4 that are going to go on the front face as well. So, darn it, you guys watch me and let me do it. Just teasing. It wouldn't be a build if we didn't have to disassemble at least a little bit. Okay, so the front inside, we're going to need 4 of these. Hopefully we can get it on there around our screw, which not, so take the screw back out. We're going to need 4 at the front, inside. That, and then 2 at the bottom for the feet. Back in there. And once again, the 4 go to the inside, the 2 go at the bottom. Sure, we get those in right. Oh, do have some racking going on here. Do our quick measurements to check and see which side's racked. I'm measuring from the inner joint. This seat. That's tap on this one because my whatchamacallit washer is in the wrong. It was actually between the two profiles versus being in a plot was causing misalignment to occur. Both in the right spots. So let's tighten these back up and see if we can't keep her nice and square. Crookedness adds character. Well, yeah, it does. That it does. I will say the better your base frame squareness, better your printer will be, better it will, I don't want to say necessarily print, but as you square things up, it gets easier and easier for everything else to align. Now let's see if this squares things up. Wobbly girl. My bottom is way out of whack. Why is the bottoms? All these were cut the same length. Oh, something feels off. Yeah, so much easier to square up, but also so much easier to we'll say fudge up as well. I mean, I cut these all at the same time, so if one's off, they all should be. And I don't know how much this is. That side looks a lot flatter than this side. I don't know. Maybe I tweaked something when I was tightening things down. Or it could be that I have an extrusion that has a twist in it. So it could be an extrusion that has a twist in it or a bend in it. Or it could be a just when you tighten things, things kind of crank around a little bit. You just tightening that one seemed to induce a bend to, which tells me that maybe my extrusion ends are not 100% 90 degrees, which is possible. I did check my saw, but it is possible. Did not like cut these on a CNC or anything. It is quite possible that my ends are not at 90 degrees. And if so, I apologize now. little bit, but not much. I also have to keep playing with this. And of course, what I really should do is just do the right thing, go downstairs and do this on the kitchen counter where I've got a known good, definitely flat surface. Some of this could be getting induced by an end that's not perfectly 90-degree cut. It could also be getting introduced or induced by this build surface not being 100% flat either. So a little bit. All right, yeah, I'm gonna have to work on this downstairs. Because it's not a 100% perfect cube, we don't have that front cross beam. It may take a little bit more tweaking to play with. And once again, this has probably got somewhat of a bow to it just from the builds that we've been doing on it, like Black Box. Oh, I could add, yeah, I can make these 500mm uprights and just make it a really tall, skinny thing. But then I have to get rails and rods and everything else. Yeah, so like this, the orange Rook, which is my other Rook 2020, this frame was, so this frame was a kit from Fabreeko, and it uses the, I don't know, like the three-way corner brackets that you have to use set screws and stuff to tighten in. Really don't like those. I actually like the blind joints a lot better. But we should be able to get this frame square. I just need to spend a little bit of time downstairs at the kitchen counter messing with it. And I don't want to do that on stream because I don't think that's fair to you guys for me to step off stream real fast. I can do it though. Yeah, DLL PDF frames are good, but right now they were like 3 months backed up. And I didn't want to order a frame and have this sitting here for months. So how about this? Guys, give me 2 minutes. I'm going to run downstairs and see if I can't get this straighter on that kitchen counter. If not, then most likely I've got a slight angle to the cut on these, and we'll have to go figure something else out. So give me like 2 to 3 minutes to go downstairs and try and straighten this out a little bit more, and I will be right back. I won't video it right now, but I can and will video and show you a video. Basically, what you see me doing right here is what I'm going to do downstairs. I'm going to gently loosen up all the corners, everything, right? You got to be careful. Loosen it up, start at the bottom, and do one direction and then the other direction. Do one corner. You want to make sure that these are perfectly flat, perfectly square, right? Then I'll do the opposite corner and then these two. And I should get, I'll go down here and make sure that I don't have a wobble. Then we'll take it to one side and just work our way around the cube. Okay? So I'm not sure if my voice will track, but give me just a minute or a couple of minutes. I'm going to go downstairs and do this. Hopefully I've got good range on this mic and I'll be able to find out real quick whether the issue is the frame cut or if it's something else. Sorry about that. This is a pretty frame, so not like probably 50 amount of space available here. Like I said, I'm just going to go all the way around the base of the frame and I'll say break the bolt. Basically just loosen the bolt. Not enough out of the frame, but I just want to relax any tension on the frame so that it's not, like if the top's pulling one way or the other, the bottom overall tension all the way around. Not like taking it 2 full turns. We're doing 1/8 turn just till we feel the tension, right? Start on the bottom using our block square. Start tightening up one corner. Once again, knowing that we're on a nice, good, flat surface. Working through this. Still feeling my extrusion seam to twist a little. Not a lot of twist, but there is a little bit of twist as I'm, like I said, as I'm tightening these down. The extrusion itself is rotating. Not that there's a, not saying there's a twist in extrusion, saying that the extrusion itself, as I tighten down, is rotating about the axis. Having to work really hard to keep that from that. We definitely don't want that to happen. Okay, so bottom is now nice and clear, so that's good. That should help things out. Now we got the bottom nice and clear and flush. Go around and do the same thing to the top extrusion. That should help bring everything else. Hope you all are hearing me. wanted it to. But I think I know how I want to do this process. What I'm doing is I did the bottom and then I flipped it over on the top corners to make sure that the is nice and work on the others, the two sides some. Almost done here. Definitely. Okay. I don't. Going around all the corners, just trying to be methodical. Bottom and one side are good, and then got back. Doesn't make extrusion. or a twisted. I feel like every time I get one side done, I screwed up another. Something. Something's still way off. Hopefully you guys are hearing me. Kind of what I'm getting the feeling is that one of my cuts is not good 90. Light issue game. Try and bring it into square. And I just witnessed what looked like a twisted one that's not staying perfect. But I think we're gonna get it here. So I'm gonna come upstairs and we'll continue the build. got a I've got one side that just seems like it is like it has a warped extrusion or something. Or something on it. One piece feels like something else moves, shifts, or opens up. Because I've taken too much time. Is it squares going to be? I'll talk through what I did, kind of visually. So what I did, and thank you everybody for hanging out here. Some of this might just be this table up. Hope I didn't lose too many people. So what I did was I took this downstairs and I just cracked the all the joints, right, to relieve the stress in all the joints. I had it down on a known flat surface. Using my 1, 2, 3 blocks, I went through and started doing the bottom. As I was doing the bottom of the frame, I was making sure I'm doing this one. So I'm sandwiching these two and I'm pushing down, and I was putting my chin right here to make sure that everything was pushed down flat as I tightened it, right? And I worked my way around the bottom, and I had the bottom pretty close to good. Up here, I'm getting a bit of a wobble, but you know, that wobble goes away as I turn it around. So I'm not sure. There may still be a bit of a wobble in here between the bottom and the top, trying to get these done. And I seriously think one of these might have a slight bow to it. Because looking at it from the side, I am seeing like this one does a slight bow. So one of these extrusions may have a slight bow in it that is throwing some things off. Now here's the deal. We'll be okay, right? It's not going to be 100%. It might not be 100%, but it's not going to kill us this size of. And hey, KB3D Chris, how's it going? Welcome on in. Zombie, welcome on in. Once again, this is a hand cut on my tape or on my miter saw. It may be slightly not 90-degree cuts. I can't help that. The only way to fix that is to order everything from Masumi or somebody that uses Masumi on their. I am still feeling ridges. Still not one. That's what's. Rear bar keeps sliding. keep having sides that not 100 flat and flush, which I don't get if I am putting it down like this, putting pressure on it on every piece as I am doing this. This joint should be 100% flush all the way around, right? I do this, push down on the extrusion. I'm using this to keep it in line. Get my piece on there. Everything should be 100% flat on that corner. I'm going to do the same thing here. And you see what I'm getting there. Ever so slight ridge where these things are turning as I'm locking them in. They're actually rotating down and under. And I don't get it. But it's frustrating the hell out of me because that's what's preventing me from getting nice, good square surface. And now that I'm doing this, it's like I'll call it my OCD is going to kick in. I'm going to fight this until I get it right. Which means I could spend like 3 days trying to get this frame straight and get all the rack out. Not that anybody on this channel that follows me and also builds printers would have that issue. Right, Zombie? And Chris, like you guys would never, ever go through this. Not want to flush. Just shy of being flush. Killing me. The only thing I can think of is I've got a curved or bent extrusion. And as soon as I do that, now everything's gonna wobble on me. I'm done. It's gonna wobble. Thanks for the alert, Zombie. It'll wobble a bit. I'll play with it later some more. Maybe putting the bottom frame on will cause it to lock in some. I don't know. So before I go much further, I guess I could probably put some feet on. I'll have our front feet. Again, that are going to go directly through here and into our base. We're just going to get these lined up. We should take M3 by 10s without bottoming out. We'll be able to get the 4 corners in here. And our actual feet screw right into the plastic, and they'll thread into the plastics. There. So Chris, how you feeling? I know I'm feeling a little rough. I had to go out today and replace the battery in the Kia. Apparently, we left one of the doors slightly ajar, left the light on, and we killed the battery. So 12-volt battery sitting on a, I set the jumper cables up to the truck, had the truck running, and yeah, after 30 minutes, it was still reading 5 volts on a 12-volt battery. So I went out and bought a new battery. Mrs. Dragon could go to her appointment, which she sounds like she just got back from it. Lethargic. Yep, that's about right. Now this one has M5, M5, and then an M3. So I'll need to get an M3 here. See if I have an M3 that will rotate in. If not, then I'll just use a hammerhead nut. Looks like that M3 was able to go in there. Try and get that lined up. Of course, I got it in there, and I probably need to go the other direction with it. See if I can get it around. And Chris, the feet that you provided to the tugboat guys, they were the standard, I'm assuming, boron feet? So give me 1 second, tugboat, and I'll show you which one I'm talking about. So the rear one right here, that looks like an M3 hole, not an M5, so that'd be an M3 right there. Just to provide better stability to that spot where your thing's going in. So probably want an M3 by 8 or M3 by 10 for that. As all the rest have been M3 or M5 by 10s, we should be able to use an M3 by 10 or an M3 by 8 would work. If you don't have an M3 by 10 button head, that silver, once again, so that you can keep your OCD in check. Okay. So M5, 5, 3 by 8 or M3 by 10, fine. The other side of this equation is going to be the center part here that has the our gear drive assembly for the Z motor. I'll have to move these so that they line up, or one lines up. We'll get that one started and we'll scoot it over tight. We'll add the other one in. I feel like I've got a piece missing. Either that or I can't find it, one of the two. This goes with this piece. This side. That's what's confusing me. Got to put this other leg here. It doesn't line up because of this. So there must be a different leg. Did I do a different leg for you that would have screwed into this piece here? Popping to say what's up, but then gonna go back to my post-Murph coma. Yeah, Evil Diesel. I understand that. It was rough getting up for work today. It was rough. The other thing that I need to do, and I won't be able to do until I start taking this apart, is figure out and make sure that my rods fit. If rods don't fit, use a M8 drill or probably an M8 reamer, because that's going to give you a nice concentric hole that will be a good fit for your M8 rods. So what I'm going to do for now is take this, we're going to set it off to the side for a moment, and we're going to work on disassembling our RAGNAROOK. Meant to get a container that I can throw all of the disassembled parts into. So let me grab something that I can do that in, because we're just going to take all of those disassembled parts and put them in the other rook. So and I think I'm just going to start at the top and tear the top down. Start by disconnecting some. Hey, Snugget, how's it going? Yep, you can call me DD72. That's fine. That is perfectly fine. Dimensions match the bomb. Yeah, that's what I was afraid of, is the dimensions match the bomb. But Tugboat was saying that they were too short. So I'm curious as to whether or not the bomb may be incorrect. Because let me check my he may be calling for the same size feet as in the, I'll say as in the initial Rook 2020, but the spot for the feet are different. Got a chance to see my printers at MRRF? Awesome. What'd you think of them in real life? Okay, well that one somewhere, I don't know where. Oh. Should say, do they live up to the hype? There's two motors out. We can go ahead and kind of get our belts out of the way. Like I said, I'm not going to reuse the Sentinel tool head. I'm going to see what I can do to get the belts out of the way. I don't want to take the tool head apart if I don't need to. And I might not even be able to reuse the belt. See, too short, then it's too short, and I'll use some other belt. Pretty sure I got plenty of GT2 6mm belt around here. And yeah, I'm gonna have to take the some to get to the mounts to pull the tool. You hadn't seen the K3 in real life before? Awesome. Glad you got a chance to see it. Top belt off. Bottom belt's not going to be able to come off until I take the tool head off, but I should be able to get the whole gantry. Should be able to get the whole gantry off. Let me grab one of these through the hole. So the gantry itself on this is held on with just 3 M3 screws instead of all 4 because one of them's covered up by the pulleys. In fact, one of the holes is covered up with a pulley. So I'll have to still going to have to take things off if I didn't have to. Yeah, the K3 was a really good build. I really liked that one. That was my first, I'll say, dual, like dual voltage printer. That was lots of fun. The I'm gonna have to take these pulleys out. These are put on with M5 socket head screws as the ends for the pulleys. Hey. Now to find, there's the other pulley. Where'd the other spacer go? Oh. Print. 5. Might be in it. Rear in him. All right, I lost a spacer, so hopefully I got another one, or I'm going to be looking for it later. Build. That was fun. Let's see if we can get the other one out dumping spacers. Probably going to be a no, but looks like there was one. That might have been. This is the disassembly part of the build, which is always fun. And this particular gantry style, the standard Rook gantry is a printed XY joint on each side. Possibly. So let me see what we got. Thank you, Mrs. Dragon. Oh. Sorry, this is mail delivery of all the packages arrived while we were gone. So the standard build is like this one, where you've got an X and Y joint on each side, and the linear rail is the only thing that's staying supported between it, right? On my Fabreeko Rook, I did what Canrog refers to as the speed mod, which has the rail supported all the way across. I mean, it's printed, it's not like metal, but it does add a little more rigidity to the overall setup, which, you know, is something that you want on a mostly printed 3D printer. So Snugget, I'm assuming that we talked face to face. If you could remind me a little bit what you looked like, because I don't remember talking to anybody that said, hey, I'm Snugget. All right, and that worries me because that one had 2 spacers on the front, which is now going to make me fear that I do have to find another spacer that's somewhere down on the front. And so once again, what we're going to do is we're going to take this one apart, and we're going to use our other Rook 2020 Mark 1 as kind of a rough guide as we're starting to put this back together, to make sure that we're getting things in pretty much the right places. There might be a thing here or there that's not in the right place, but we'll be okay. So I did just notice that that one also had a spacer on top of each bearing stack. So bearing, or spacer, bearing, spacer. So somewhere I am missing 2 spacers. Not good. See if there's one stuck on one side or the other of this. That's a big negative Ghost Rider. So here's one, which means my other one is down underneath somewhere. And once again, we're going to need to remove the tool head, and it is screwed on with 4 screws, which means my only option is to completely disassemble this tool head to get it off. So this is my 3 fans. I should take, it's my 2 fans, and this was the fan wire coming down into that off. I should be able to move the idler. You should have 2. This has 4 because the rods aren't just the bed, but it's also the actual structure. Because we have 2020, we only need the 2 rods in the back that the bed goes through. But taking that either off gives me access to the mounting screw here. So I can take this screw off. One on the other side. That should allow me to remove my extruder, which of course is still connected with the motor to said wiring. Guess I'm gonna have to just take this off anyhow, because my hope will be that we can reuse some of this wiring as well. So I don't have to sit here and create all new wiring looms. So it's doable. Won't be the first, won't be the last. And Chris, for the files out there for the black box mods, were they out and available on the GitHub, or what do I need to do to get those? Now you gave me the fan, but I don't have the files to do anything with said fan. Okay, so one of these looms was for the tool head and the associated umbilical. The other was for the motors. Goes all the way inside there. So trying to good gracious. I apparently didn't realize I was going to tear this apart at some point, because I made it more difficult than it needed to be. Imagine that. I did neat wiring, and then the neat wiring is causing me additional. But it's okay. Do neat wiring, folks. The additional work is not that bad. Do these. Got M2 screws holding these fans in, so we're gonna have to take these off. That's not bringing that one out. Yeah. Either break out the iFixit kit. Okay, so actually let's take a quick gander and see what we may have gotten in the mail, because I can't remember what all was coming. If any part of this would be needed for this build. I don't think it did. I think this is the Fabreeko stuff, which will be, these are more of my JST splitter pins or connectors. So those are always good. I use those in several builds. It helps with the wiring, especially when you're trying to combine fans. We use several of those in our other build. Obviously, here's something from Amazon. Not obviously, because I'm trying to keep from doxing myself. And this is some 2040 extrusion cover. I'm going to use that on the VZBot just to clean some things up. And of course, we got an Alien 3D box, so we'll leave that for now. And we'll go back over here to trying to tear this apart. So we're going to need the iFixit kit. Need to remove tiny screws that my bond hose bits will not get into. We're going to take off the 3010. I think these are more attempt because these little M2 screws I should head strip out on them if you look at them funny. By the way, if you're building a tool head and you do it, this Sentinel tool head, other than being a pain to take back apart. It's very, very nice, very slick tool head setup. Not sure if Zombie, if you've done any of these past, but again, other than hating the M2 screws, hopefully I can just gonna have to take the spool head out and I can leave the fans in there. Now the hot end fan. Oh, hey, Tugboat. Thanks for the resubscribe. Third month of the subscription. So this is kind of where things are. So rather than do a JST or microfit, I did the solder joint connection. These are the the soldered strings. So that works. In hindsight, I should have put a microfit there because now I've got to be able to fish the entire thing back. More of a pain in the butt type of thing. What is the next step after the frame? We're going to start doing, I'm probably going to do the bed first. So I'm going to need, well, at least the lower bed rails or the lower mounts for the linear rods. Goodness gracious. Okay, so there's our tool head that we Rook before. And we're going to use a completely different tool head. It's a we're going to use the tool head used by Bamboo. It's not going to be a Bamboo specific one. It'll be a knockoff, but that is what is called for in the guide for this. That's what we'll use. And what I'm trying to do is take these things apart so that I can get to all the parts I'm going to need to keep going. So the rest of the stream is really going to be just disassembly and chatting. And how's it going, Tripod? Welcome on in. Welcome on in. It was really good seeing you at MRRF. You didn't get a whole lot of time to chat, but good to see you again at the show. I'm sure we'll see each other at 3D Printopia. And so once again, I'm just trying to collect all of my screws and stuff here, but I will show you this after I get my belts pulled out. So I've got the other belt over there. So this is, I'll say the totality. This is a single print tool head design. It's a 3010 blower on each side. Got the duct that comes down. You'll have your hot end, or it mounts to your X carriage directly here. You'll have your tool head that mounts directly to the plastic. And then these standoffs right here is what the hot end. It's a pretty simple design. You've got M3 nuts back here that are captive that the tool head, the actual print head mounts into. And then the fans go right into plastic, both the 3010s and the hot end fan. And this is just VHB on to enable me to split the two part cooling fans into a single return that was coming back. Ew. And we'll just clean the VHB off the back of this, and we can use this in another printer like the Rook 2020. Who knows? Hey, 3D Mac Venture still hanging out? I appreciate it, sir. So we're going to be doing this build on Tuesdays and Thursdays on the Rook 2020. The Milo will get started on Saturday. I am going to back to Goshen to spend some time with my son because I didn't get a chance to spend much time with him this past weekend while at the show. So I am going to go back and spend some time with them. So we may not be streaming Tuesday or Thursday next week. Just so we have, just so I can spend time with my son. And I'll have to try and get these fans off. Probably need them for the build, but we're not going to need them right now. What else is next? All of these. Run, that's fun. I'm going to have to get off all of the wiring. I'll probably work on getting all that stuff out after the stream. And tugboat, I don't think I've got a set of those. Milo is the LDO CNC, yes. So I'm thinking these will probably work on the Rook 2020 feet here and give us the clearance that we need. Let me push that screw back through. So yeah, these ones right here would work. And once again, I've got a printed spacer that I will send you that I used on the VZBot, and that will work. Should work for you. Like I said, just measure how much you need for the feet that you have to stick out, like, I don't know, 2 or 3 millimeters. And that's how much you would need to print as far as a spacer goes. See how much that's going to stick out? Not much at all, but it's going to give you just a little bit of lift beneath the skirt. Does it clear the extrusion thing? I'm going to let me get a couple of feet on here. I may have to put extensions on here as well, because I just noticed that the Z motor sits lower than the skirt and stuff. So let me get these on, and I'll check. I'm going to just work my way through clearing everything off the bottom. As I remove the skirts, it'll make it easier to get to the electronic stuff. I'm just going to break this printer down. Oh, of course. Why would I have 4 screws that are exact same? I have 3 screws that are the same, and the last one button head for whatever reason. Okay, that one on. Anyhow, let me think about what I'm going to do. Besides, keep talking. Think. I think what I'm going to do is take things off the top. The way these fasten on are going to be a little bit different because they're not, it's not going into the extrusion, it's going directly into plastic. My plan is for these stacks here is hopefully them as they are. We'll see if we need to do anything. Once again, this is a spacer, bearing, bearing, spacer, spacer, bearing, bearing, spacer. So a full stack is spacer, bearing, bearing, spacer. They do. They may have M5x20 socket head, but they may also have like M5x20, I'll say pan head, like Phillips screwdrivers or screws. At least Lowe's does. Home Depot might have better select. Probably does. I want to get in the Home Depot, Lowe's, Ford, Chevy type of discussion. True. And I will most likely take all these and sort all the screws out off stream maybe tomorrow night as I'm venting over work stuff. And like I said, I'm going to have a full set of Rook parts. If anybody wants to build a Rook, I will have a full set of printed Rook Mark 1 parts for a Fabreeko kit. Oh, that's not a bad thing, Tugboat. I prefer, me and Mrs. Dragon much prefer Home Depot. We just don't have the option here. It's Lowe's or nothing. Well, Lowe's or a long drive into Raleigh to go to Home Depot. Okay. And when you undo your rails, put a stopper on them. If you don't have a stopper, tape, zip tie on both ends, something to keep you from letting your rails or your carriages off the rail. Yeah, it would be wise if you're going to be doing 3D printers with all the maintenance and stuff like that. You get an M3 set and probably an M5 set. M4's not so much, but M3 button head and M3 socket head, and then M5 button head and socket heads. They will keep you in good. The reason these are so long is you have heat set inserts all along the bottom, so you're literally pulling through the full piece of material to make these nice and tight. I think those are like M3 by 20s. What I just knock off. Odd end. So you've had to buy 30 extra parts because of bomb issues. Okay, if you could, Tugboat, please let me know. Take notes of everything that you had to change. Okay, and I will get with you. I will reimburse you for what you've had to buy. But also, if you can provide those bomb updates, one, we can get them back to CanRog, make sure that they get fixed online, because I took the bomb directly off his printable site. And also, I want to get it back to Chris because he is considering making this a bomb purchasable on KB3D for the Rook 2020 Mark II. the Mark I that's been on his table now for what, 4 or 5 events, continues to get lots of attention. And okay, if it's things that you feel you need, then yeah, make notes of that. If it's things that are definitely needed for the build, then definitely get that information back to us so that we can help make it a better build for everybody else in the community. Guys, with everything off, the top should come off just like this. Need to recover this screw as well. Button head, I'm going to have to use a whatchamacallit, all-in driver for. Yeah, that might not be a bad idea to get some hammerhead nuts in the bomb instead of all the instead of or in addition. So once again, here's all of the set inserts that go into the bottom, and that once again allows you to really cinch down on your rails. Make sure that in order to pull these out, you're going to have to pull them all the way through this printed part, which is going to be very hard to do. Now with that, our bed to be able to come up and off. That my wires are wired in. So we're just going to remove our rods. And I probably should have had a towel ready. Now I've grabbed 4 rods, 2 of which had plenty of grease on them. Now all over my hand. Don't worry, there'll be plenty enough lubricant. How these LM8M, LM8L bearings. So for those of you looking at this bed and saying, well, why would we use those long bearings if we could just use shorter bearings and everything would work out? Because shorter bearings are not going. ST. What is going on here? It's in stuff. Yeah, having an option like hammerhead nuts, that is a, I want to say it's a nice to have, but nice to have them in case you run into issues with, like, oh, I didn't preload this or I didn't preload that. You can always use a hammerhead. Um, and then sometimes you did preload everything, but you decide to do a mod that requires something. Um, so you want to need to add some additional. Hammerhead nuts are really good for after afterthought or like for installing panels because you want to take your panels on and off. A couple of twists with a screwdriver and it loosens up and you should be able to take all of your panels off. Yeah, here we go. This is the old style single piece bed frame. Bed frames we did are in 3 pieces. I think we're still going to try and do something like this, which is just Legos that are VHB done. Just provides a convenient way of doing sort of your bed wiring. I'll leave this as yours. There's the deck panel that can now come off now that we've got the things out. Okay? Make it easier to start getting in and tearing down the bottom set. Um, okay. I'll see if anybody wants these printed parts. If they do, great. If not, I will go through and cover all the heat set inserts out of here. So this is an external antenna because I was using a a Anapi 0M2, kind of like a alternative for a Raspberry Pi 02, 0 or 02. How long? This. Okay. It is getting a little late. I need to check on Mrs. Dragon. I probably need to eat dinner. So let's figure out where we're going to raid into tonight. And I will continue to disassemble this off stream. And we will come back and work with this a little bit actually on Thursday, we should be able to make some pretty good progress. Physical build of the printer, because we'll be done with, or we'll get, once we have this in a state where we can more easily work with the components, building it goes real fast and make a lot of progress real fast. It's really a simple build. Like this printer right here that I'm disassembling, I did in 2 build streams. You guys know my build streams go long, but here to be like 4-hour build stream. Prep on your part. Have all of your parts ready to go. As far as your, have your screws and stuff at hand and your printed parts ready. Because as I said, we're going to be pretty much going. Now, your linear rails, okay? Prep for the next stream would be to get your linear rails ready to be installed. So that would mean either lining it up and squirting in your grease through a hole, right? You can line it up like this, squirt your grease in through the hole to grease your bearings, or wouldn't suggest taking it all the way off like I do, but take it part way off like that, squirt grease on there, press it in, push it through, work it a couple, 3 times, come back, do the same thing, push the grease into the balls with your finger and run it through there again. You may even do it one on each side or a couple times on each side. Okay, you want to use like EP2 grease on your rails. These have, they've obviously had grease on them, but I may go through and put more just because. But yeah, just try and have everything on hand. Greasing your rails and your Element UU bearings will need grease as well. There, I'll show you a way of doing that, which is take and squirt some of your grease. If you have a tube of super lube, and the super lube works, use it for both your rails and your linear rods. So if you want to, just get a thing of super lube off of Amazon, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Might have it at Home Depot, I don't know, but so super lube multi-purpose synthetic grease. Down over here on one of the sides, you're looking for NLGI grade 2. Okay, this is a grease with PTFE in it. This one will work just fine. Okay, I can look for the link on Amazon and send you the link so you'll have it. Don't worry about this printed contraption that I have here. This is really good for doing Element U bearings. It, of course, won't be long enough to do these bearings. Doesn't have to be anything special. What you do is you line up the balls with the slots in. And that way, when you squeeze, you'll squeeze until you see it start to come out the end, because the slots are lined up with the bearings. It's going to squish it between the ball bearings and you don't waste a lot. If you don't have that, no worries. Poke the end, squeeze a glob down in there, and then put your finger on the end, take your rod, and push your rod in slowly. What that's going to do is force the grease into the ball bearings and the races, right? And you'll see it starting to squirt up here. That tells you got all the good pressure. Let your finger off and run it up and down several times. And I can tell that this is going to be greased. And that will pack these bearings. I'm not sure about bike grease, but you should be able to get that on Amazon in just a day or two. Like trying to figure out how I had this. Because it's going to be easier to get all this stuff off the board, but how is this? Oh, that's right. It's secured with the 2 screws from the front. Those screws off. This slides off. And now I can undo these screws for my inbound and socket through there. We'll keep that socket just like it is. Hopefully we can reuse it just like it is. I may reuse this just because I've got it, but I know you're using, I was going to say, I know we're using, let me stop that thought. Did we do the LRS 200 for you, or were we doing the external brick? Which had you decided on? I believe I sent you parts for either way. We're gonna have to mess the wire in. We're gonna have to work to do the wiring. Maybe we'll reuse some of this. Maybe we'll redo a lot of it. Don't know. We'll see how it goes. We'll work it out together, right? Work it out. Right now, I'm figuring out like, hey, wires am I gonna? Wire, which is Sherpa. Another project one day. Trademark one day, just like we trademarked soon. The LRS 200. Okay. Yeah, the LRS 200 would be, I'll say less, like less soldering, because we had talked about like limiting the amount of soldering and stuff. Definitely be less soldering that way. I will tell you, when I go to do mine, I'm not doing this banana pie for the next one. I will do something else, like standard Raspberry Pi, potentially a Libre Elec one. bag to put that stuff in. This off. This out because sorry guys, I know I'm kind of like right now. You don't have a power brick? Okay, so we'll go the LRS 200 route. And that's perfectly fine. Do that. You can do. And I'll do a screw sorting. Like I said, I'm not going to do a stream on it because that's just heinous. But I will sort out all the screws that I have over here, just to get them back into their buckets. And then we'll come back Thursday and we'll be in build mode. We'll start building all. I'm good, guys. I do need to find a place to leave. Is zombie up yet? Should be. NZ. Looks like no support. Maybe wiped. Brillo, Astro, Piano's up. Science. Pool. Karen's still up. Let's jump over to Karen Chow. Doing some tutorials. Go ahead and jump over to Karen. Thank you everybody for hanging with me tonight. As I go through this, like I said, it's tear down stream, so I'll continue to tear stuff, and then next stream we'll get in and get to building. I may play around with that frame and see if I can get it a little more square. Not, then we'll make do with what we got. It's a small bed, 100%. But thanks everybody. Let's go over and hang out with Karen Cal, and I will see you guys on. Have a good night all.